All right. So let's get started. Today we have Jackie DeBaptista, the Director of Resource Development and Angelic Organics, here today to talk about sustainability in local food systems. So thank you for taking the time out today to talk to Dill Pickle.
You're welcome, and thank you. And just a quick correction, I'm the Executive Director, and Leah Lawson is our Director of Resource Development and Communications. So, and you would have been very lucky to speak with Leah.
To begin, can you talk about the mission behind Angelic Organics?
Absolutely. And just to make sure that we don't sow confusion, the Angelic Organics is our partner farm. And so our Angelic Organics Learning Center is the educational arm of that partnership. And so I just want to make sure that we're clear on who I'm speaking about, that I'm talking about the Learning Center. But thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. And so Angelic Organics Learning Center works to build sustainable local food and farm systems. And we do that through three main programmatic initiatives. We have a farmer training program, which works with new and beginning farmers. And we have a complete curriculum that helps them with business planning in particular, but also kind of developing their mission as farmers, their goals as new farmers, and then writing their business plan. So that's one of our main initiatives. We also run an urban CSA farm. We have an urban initiative in Rockford, Illinois. And so that program is called Roots and Wings. And the Roots and Wings CSA is in partnership with Zion Outreach, which is based out of the Lutheran Church, and the Rockford Housing Authority. And our farm is located on property that is on a Rockford Housing Authority community in Rockford. And so we program in partnership with the youth in that community. So it's kind of a two-pronged initiative where we run a CSA, so we sell vegetables, but then we also run an active community garden and a leadership program with the youth in that community to teach them how to farm, and also just to learn kind of some of those soft skills that help everybody through life through farming. And then finally, in Caledonia, which is where our offices are located, we have an on-farm educational program where we bring out both adults and youth to learn about sustainable and organic farming. And so we have livestock on the farm, so they get to do chores. We take them onto our neighbor John Peterson's farm, Angelic Organics, and they get to pick vegetables. They learn how to cook with things. We do gardening classes. We have overnight camps for youth. We have day camps. And so we just have a really wide variety of educational programs.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's amazing. Sounds like Angelic Organics Learning Center is in alignment with Dill Pickle's values.
I was looking up your values on your website, and I was reading that, and it sounds exactly like we're very well aligned with what you guys do. I was very impressed with your values.
Yeah, it would be incredible to partnership in terms of a CSA, because we're totally lacking one right now. We had one a few years back. I forget which farm, but it was a really popular program. So we should connect.
We should, and quite frankly, we have a lot of partner organizations that we work with that are, in Chicago as well, who could also, put you in contact with a CSA farmer. In our craft farmer network, we have a touch point with a lot of farms in the entire state line region. So we reach, urban farmers in the Chicago region, as well as southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois, more in rural parts. And so there's a lot of connections that we can help you guys make if you're interested.
Awesome. Well, can you talk about your backstory and how you became involved with Angelic Organics Learning Center?
Sure. So I am also a farmer. I work on my family's farm in a small town called Pecatonica. and it's outside of Rockford, just for a little bit of reference point. And when I started running our family farm, it was due to it was unexpected. My father passed away unexpectedly, and it was kind of one of those moments in my life where it was like, okay, what are we going to do with this, operation, and will we step into it or what? And so my husband and I decided to move forward with our family farm operation. And at that time, I really needed a lot of support because I was a beginning farmer. And so in looking around for support, I discovered Angelic Organics Learning Center, and I went through their State Line Farm Beginnings program, which we still are currently running, and learned a whole lot about, the business aspects of my farm, but I also received so many valuable contacts within the farm community that I could reach out to for mentorship and support. And I have a professional background in non-formal education. So I've worked for a park district. I've done a lot of environmental education. I worked for the University of Illinois Extension prior to moving to Angelic Organics Learning Center. First as a program coordinator, running a volunteer naturalist program. And then I worked as a 4-H youth educator for 3 years. When the opportunity at the Learning Center opened up that they were looking for an executive director. And so I applied, and it really felt like coming full circle because I've personally benefited, right, from the programming that we offer. And because the Learning Center has such a dual value system of loving farming and farmers, and also like holding up, environmental sustainability as such an important value within that, it really just felt like a really wonderful merging of my background as well, and a great fit. And it's been really wonderful to work here with the people that we have. So
it's lovely when life tends to work itself out like that, especially under circumstances of loss and grief.
Yes, thank you for recognizing that. I appreciate that.
So as the executive director of Angelic Organics Learning Center, what do you see for the state of Illinois as we face so many challenges with supply chain and distribution? Is there an ultimate goal as you navigate and build these local food systems through education and training programs?
So yes, I mean, it's a complicated system, right? And there's a lot of systemic barriers to strengthening the local food system. In general, local farmers don't have a lot of resources. And then when we're talking about diversifying our farmer base, this is something that we are really working strongly towards at the Learning Center as well. And I'll give you an example of that. I can give 2 examples. First of all, within our strategic plan, we've committed to dismantling oppressive systems and practices. And certainly there are plenty of those within the food system that limit a lot of farmers from accessing land, resources, support, education, etc. And the food system is extremely complex, right? There's so many barriers to new and beginning farmers, and in particular to new and beginning farmers of color. So we're really committed to diversifying our programming. And the pandemic, ironically, offered us a really unique opportunity to take a step back and examine our practices and understand, how what we were offering the public was also creating a barrier for, some farmers. We are based geographically in a very rural area. And so we struggled with reaching a broad base of new and beginning farmers and attracting them to our programming. And so we spent the better part of a year examining both the curriculum that we offer as well as our mode of offering that curriculum, and have launched our State Line Farm Beginnings program 100% online. And since doing so, we have increased the participation of farmers who identify as Black, Indigenous, and people of color by 60% the first year and 50% this year. Well, 50% of our population this year identifies as BIPOC. And it's been not only wonderful just to see the participation, but just the enrichment of our community and the diverse perspectives that that brings to our work. And it's reinvigorated our staff and our efforts, and it's just that initial success that we've been having is really important. And it so that's just one front. And again, like the food system's so complex, right? Like there's so many different fronts. We also partner really closely with some other food and farm focused organizations, whether they do policy work or just advocacy for farmers. And so through that partnership, we are also trying to really work hard to strengthen our collaboration and work together to support one another, share resources, and just make sure that, you know, with all of our broad representation, our diverse audiences with whom we work, that, you know, we're really able to kind of address all of these barriers on multiple levels together as an alliance, because we, you know, none of us have all of the answers by ourselves. So
no, yeah. In terms of diversification of the food system, representation is really important, because when you see someone like yourself doing the work, it makes it a lot easier and more accessible for you to start doing the work. So thank you for taking
You're welcome. Absolutely. And I mean, we recognize that. And, you know, we have historically been a white-led and white, you know, majority organization, and we continue to struggle with diversity, although our staff is diversifying. And, you know, we are very intentional about our hiring practices as well. But it's a reality, right, that we have to face and be honest about, and make sure that, you know, as a white-led organization, that we first and foremost play a support role and don't, you know, step into spaces as we have all of the answers. But first we listen, and then we ask, you know, how can we support and move forward in that way in partnership? So.
Yeah, when I first started at the Dill Pickle, I was the only identifying Black person on staff. And over the years, as we've expanded, we have diversified. But I'll let you know, it's a messy, messy ride. And sometimes you don't have the answers.
Absolutely. Right. And you have to just kind of muck through it and right, embrace humility and you know, forgiveness, and just keep moving forward, because there's no way through it but through the muck and doing the work.
Working through the conflict. Yep.
Yep, we have to do the work 100%.
Okay. Well, lastly, what is some advice you would offer someone who is interested in working towards building sustainable and local food and farm systems?
Oh, that's a big question. I mean, there's so many points of intersection within the food system. I really think that anybody could be inspired really to engage in the food system to strengthen it, right? And there's so many touch points, whether it's through supporting, you know, a cooperative like Dill Pickle, right? And putting your money where your mouth is, and supporting, you know, democratic mission based organizations. That's huge, right? That's huge in making a difference and shifting the power structure within the food system, first and foremost, right? But there's all sorts of ways that we can shift the power system and in the food system, and a lot of it is, you know, elevating BIPOC voices, advocating for policy change, advocating for funding and supporting land access issues. I mean, there are just so many ways, right, that you can support it. And I think first and foremost is connecting with an organization that can kind of put you in connection. And there's a lot of really great organizations within Illinois, within the State Line region, whether it's the Learning Center, whether it's Advocates for Urban Agriculture, whether it's, you know, Illinois Stewardship, you know, Alliance. I mean, there's so many different organizations. There's Black Oak Center, right, who's training farmers. There's so many places that can put you on a path to help make that difference. And I would just congratulate everybody who shops at your store and supports your cooperative and your members. That's so big to take back that ownership. It's such a big piece of it, right? So, yeah.
Democratic ownership. Yeah, one vote, one share.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask, for those who aren't aware, where is Angelic Organics Learning Center located in case folks want to visit?
Yes, great. So we are based in a town called Caledonia, Illinois. If you envision the border between Illinois and Wisconsin, we are just south of Beloit. So if you are traveling from the Chicago region to Wisconsin on I-90, we are one exit off of the road, about 5 miles down the road. So it's a very rural location. But I would invite everybody to come out and visit us. We have a beautiful campus. We have a very agricultural scene on one side with, our neighbor farmer, John Peterson, and Angelic Organics with their vegetables. And it's a very large, interesting operation to see. We've got the farm animals, and we've got a very different facility where we have Angelic Organics Lodge, which is our overnight camp facility with 70 acres of forest and savanna landscape and a stream running through it and paths to walk and all of that. So please come and see us. We would love to have you out.
Yes, please. Well, thank you for sharing. Those are all of the questions that I have.
Great.
And I want to say thank you for the work that you do. It's really important to our community and the longevity of our future world.
Thank you. And thank you for the work that you do and for the invitation to be interviewed, and also for supporting us this month. I really think that the generosity that you exhibit on a monthly basis is really wonderful, and we really appreciate being the beneficiaries this month. So thank you.
Yes, and for those who don't know, Angelic Organics Learning Center is our current roundup recipient at the registers, so be sure to round up your orders at the registers when you shop. Well, thank you for your time today, Jackie.
Great, Jessica. Thank you so much. I really appreciate talking with you and meeting with you.
Likewise.
I hope to stop in sometime.
Yes, and I hope to go down.
Great. Sounds good. We'll have to coordinate.
Perfect. All right. Have a good one.
You too. Take care.
If you'd like to learn more about Angelic Organics Learning Center, you can head over to their website at learngrowconnect.org to find out how you can get involved with sustainable local food and farm systems. As always, thank you for watching, and that's the deal for today.